the universe, a place filled with opportunity. And one planet full of opportunity is Earth. Millions of years old, the history of Earth is vast. But we are going to go on a journey together on the history of planet Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the International Historian, where we will learn the history of Earth and all of humanity alike. Humanity, so far the most intelligent creatures on the planet. Don't mind what the dolphins say or the mice are planning. We know it is true. And human civilization may be our greatest achievement. But it all relied on one thing: the discovery of agriculture. Humanity used to only exist as a hunter-gatherer society, and while it kept you alive, it wasn't a very efficient way to get a surplus of food. Although there was one form of hunting that brought a good amount of food, and that was fishing. That is one reason why humanity would gather around the coast of the oceans, lakes, and any large body of water. Seafood was abundant, easiest to catch, and it was less likely to kill you when you were trying to get it. But in general, hunting that deer going through the woods at 30 to 50 miles per hour is much less rewarding than growing wheat and potatoes and not dying. Thus, the agricultural revolution, also known as the Neolithic Revolution, began. The first signs of agricultural revolution started in modern-day Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon. In 12,000 BC, these people began collecting and storing seeds and grains. This is the first recorded event of humans storing a surplus of food. But the good times couldn't last forever, and in 9000 BC, this culture completely collapsed. While others went back to hunting and gathering, a small group decided to try something new. The Middle East used to be a much wetter environment, with large floodplains, steppes, and even forests. With vast steppes existing, some became nomadic herders, with their ability to have a constant, mobile, near source of meat, clothing, and milk, and they roamed the steppes of the ancient world. While others sowed the seeds that they could find into the soil, hoping to recreate nature. They succeeded, and humanity had discovered agriculture. And like the wildfires of California, it took off and it never settled down. The Fertile Crescent took off with agriculture, leading to a massive population growth. And it wasn't the only civilization to do so. Independent of each other, the Egyptians, Chinese, Indo-Valley, Mesoamerica, and the Andes also began to domesticate their native plants. From rice to China to potatoes in modern-day Peru, agriculture spread. Now, people all around the world began to have enough food to settle down and dedicate their life to something besides finding enough food not to starve. And from the surplus of food came the ability for people to specialize and technology to grow. The more and more that was grown, the more and more people did not have to farm, and they could do something else, like making pottery, used to store food and water or other materials, or craftsmen who could forge or create equipment to make farming easier and more efficient. With people now doing jobs that contributed to farmers' success, a new demand was created. We needed people to help the craftsmen and others continually make their goods. Like, you needed a trader to go to foreign lands and get the materials needed to keep the craft makers going, or even the emergence of political and religious leaders. And not to mention, with people now able to have more free time, more could be contributed to the development of art, music, culture, In short, the agricultural revolution is a story of man taking the first, maybe the biggest step into modern society, where no longer we were bound by how much nature could provide, but how much we could make to thrive. But now that we had a surplus of food and the tools, came the first time ever needed to protect these things. We went from having nothing and being the hunter to having a lot to protect and being the prey to others. And this is what civilization is for. It was for people to band together to trade stuff for the food, and the people with the food to have people protect them. Cities, walls, militaries, governments, all formed to protect food and stuff from the people who wanted to take it. Next episode, we will be looking into one of those first civilizations, the Indus Valley civilization.